Okay, great. Thank you so much to everyone who's joining. It's great to see so many familiar names, and it's great to see some new names as well. So my name is Danushi Fernando, and welcome to the continuation of our UBC Sauder MBAN Alumni series. So I am a recruitment and admissions manager here at the Sauder School of Business for our postgraduate programs, and I will be your host for today's webinar. Just to let you know, we are recording the webinar, so don't worry if you maybe missed a thought or forgot to write something down. You'll definitely be able to rewatch it later. So today, I'll go over some quick little reminders, and then we'll go into our panelist discussion, and then we'll have some time at the end for Q&A from the audience. But just to get everyone warmed up, I have a question for everyone joining us today. What part of the world are you joining us from today? If you could put your answer in the chat box, that would be great. So great that we have some people from Vancouver, Toronto, Mumbai, India, the United States. We've got everyone from around the world, some Ottawa, Taiwan, Nigeria, Switzerland, Beijing, Brazil. Thank you, whatever time zone you're in right now. I'm sure it must be very early or very late for some of you. Thank you for taking the time to join us, chat, and hear what we hear from our alumni. So I would like to acknowledge that UBC's Vancouver Point Grey campus is situated on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people. I would also like to acknowledge that you are joining us today from many places near and far, and acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of those lands. So in the room with me today, we are so grateful to be joined by some of our fabulous alumni. Arpit, Bert, and Elena. We'll be hearing from them in just a couple moments, but thank you to them. We have some questions, discussion questions, and they'll be able to share their experience and share some thoughts about the program. I'm also joined by Tamara and Tara Lynn, my colleagues. They'll be working in the background. You might see them in the chat box answering some questions, and thank you to them for joining us today. So to kick things off, let's start with our first poll question. What are you most excited about today? And the poll will just come up in just a couple moments, but you'll have a couple options. Maybe you're here to learn a little bit more about the program, get to know our alumni. Maybe you have some admissions questions, or you're just really looking forward to the Q&A period. And I believe the poll is available right now. Perfect. Thank you so much. And oh, I just realized we do have our second poll question up as well. What industry are you currently working or studying in? And it's so great that so many of you are here to chat with our alumni and get to know them and learn more about the program. It looks like we have a lot of people coming in from finance and business here today. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I'm just going to end the poll. It looks like most people have answered. So if you are someone who is looking to bridge the gap between data science and business, solve complex problems using data, and is looking to be challenged academically, then the Masters of Business Analytics might just be the right program for you. In 12 months, you can earn a master's degree from a top-tier internationally recognized school. You'll gain access to a global network and gain real-life experience in your program field. And one thing that really sets Sauder apart is the unprecedented amount of career development support you receive from our Business Career Center. The program is structured as about 8 months of coursework and then a 3 to 4 months of an internship or research project. Our graduates work in a variety of fields within consulting, management, and analyst positions, just to name a few. They work for a mix of employers, from startups to Fortune 500 companies. There's a lot of diverse options in terms of employment. And all these diverse positions come from a diverse cohort. We have students that are just starting out to students that want to take their career to the next level, coming in from around the globe. We have students from business, engineering, social science, computer science, and they all come from a variety of employment sectors. And just to note, the average work experience is 5 years, but it's not a requirement to apply for the program. And in regards to our admissions requirements, we do look at applications holistically. So we do consider your GPA and test scores because this is an academically rigorous program and it's very technical. However, we are also looking at other aspects of your profile, like references, your technical skills. We're also looking at your written compositions and video essays. And this is your opportunity to tell us your story, showcase your personality, and tell us why you want to join the program. So I would recommend considering all of these factors and putting time into showcasing these factors when putting forward your strongest application. If you did study at a university where English was the primary medium of instruction, you do not need to submit an English proficiency test. Once we look at all these factors of your profile, we will then send out invitations to interview as part of the process. And I know a lot of you have submitted or are currently completing your applications. The next application deadline is March 15th. And this is the final application deadline for international students. You do not need to wait until the 15th to submit. I would recommend getting it in as soon as possible. That leaves us with more time to review it. If you submitted your application, our admissions team is working incredibly hard to process all our applications from all of our programs. So please keep an eye out for an email or check your application portal to see if your documents have been recorded. So that's all my housekeeping reminders. And now I would like to jump into our panel discussion. So with me today, I have Elena, Bert, and Arpit. And I would like to just have them quickly introduce themselves. Maybe we'll start with Elena and then go to Bert and then go to Arpit.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elena. Happy to be here with you today. And I hope that I can share something useful or some lessons that I have learned during my data analytics journey. Do you want me to share something about the background or just?
Sure, yeah, that would be great. If you could share a little bit more about the background you had coming into the program, education and work, and just elaborate on the type of work that you do now, that would be lovely.
Sure. So I didn't have a technical background. My education, previous work experience, I was related to business. So previous to the MBAN, I had 5 years of experience, 2 years as a business development consultant. So at that time, I was helping European companies to enter into the Singaporean market. And then I had 3 years as a consultant at a management consulting firm. So it was at that point when I started working with data, but doing very basic analysis. But it was at that moment when I decided I really want to get into the data analytics space. And that's the reason why I did the MBAN program. So after the graduation, I joined Traction on Demand. It's a local Salesforce consulting partner. So I was working on data visualization projects. I was working with clients to understand their requirements for data, doing analysis, creating dashboards, and helping them to improve their business decision-making process. After that, so after almost a year, I joined Slalom. So Slalom is a global consulting firm. So as a consultant, that's my current role right now. And since I joined the company back in October last year, I have been working in different projects. So I have been doing some data visualization work, creating dashboards in Power BI and Tableau, but also doing data analytics, creating forecasting models, some machine learning models. And now I'm working in a project doing some data engineer, working with different data warehouses. So that's a snapshot.
Thank you so much, Elena. Bert?
Yeah, it's good to meet everybody. I am a graduate of the 2019 MBAN program, so a couple years already. Like Elena, I came to the program without any technical background at all. I did a Bachelor's of Commerce, also at UBC. So I was very much not technical going into the program. After the program, I went to Deloitte here in Vancouver doing consulting, mostly in technology and less to do with data, I would say, more so to do with product, helping to build out technological products to aid with digital transformation for a variety of clients along the way. I was with Deloitte for 2.5 years or so, up until last month, and I recently just left the consulting space to join Salesforce, which is a technology company, and I'm also located still here in Vancouver.
Awesome. Hi everyone, this is Arthur, and I am a graduate from the 2021 MBAN batch. I'm from India, and I'm happy to see a lot of you are from India as well, like in the chat I saw. Anyway, like I'm an engineer, so I had pretty much of a technical background. I mean, I was familiar with coding, but then to me, the main part that I wanted to learn was the business side of things and how to sort of integrate the two. I worked as a consultant after my engineering for a year. Then for a couple of years, I was in credit risk and finance. And I mean, during the program, I felt like a lot of my skills were transferable, and I learned a lot, like with respect to both the business and technology side. So post that, I started working in KPMG in the analytics team as a senior consultant. And yep, I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much for introducing yourselves. So we'll jump into our next question, which is what career goals or expectations did you have entering the program? So where did you expect to end up when you graduated? And did they change as you went through the program? Maybe Arpit, let's start with you.
Yeah, for sure. So that's a great question, because initially I thought that I just like learn the business side of things and try to find a job which integrates the two. And during the program, it sort of changed in a way that I really wanted to try consulting in a full-fledged manner. So and like all thanks to all the people that were there in the program, like the whole team. They helped me a lot in like just providing the necessary steps and giving me direction as well. So it sort of changed in a way. And also I got familiar with strategy analytics during some of my like mock interviews with the UBC team when I was looking for placement. So I mean, these two sides definitely were the ones in which I got a lot more exposure on, and I'm more or less in these two fields right now. So that was amazing for me.
Thank you so much. Bert, would you like to share a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. Into the program with no interest or regard for consulting at the moment or at that time. My original goal was to join MBAN and do something more technical, data analysis, data science, something like that, more technical aspect of MBAN. What happened was I ended up applying to consulting roles, ended up really liking what I saw, and I joined Deloitte out of that. So all to say that you can join the program with one direction and you can find yourself being pulled in many others.
And Bert, just to follow up, how did you find yourself applying for those consulting roles? Like, was it just you saw it on the job board and it seemed interesting, or were you kind of targeting consulting at that point?
Yeah, so one thing that happened in my year, and I'm pretty sure it still persists to this day, is that when you do join the program, local companies or even international ones, they will come and do information sessions at the actual school. And there, Deloitte was one of them that had an information session. I attended this session, learned a lot, talked to a few folks from the actual company who were working in consulting teams. And from there, the interest to give it a shot really arose.
That's so great. That's awesome that the employer networking worked out for you. Elena, how about you?
So in my case, when I joined the program, I had the expectation that, oh, after that I will get into analytics, but I didn't know like what kind of role. Like then during the program, I really learned, oh, we have data analytics, like data analyst, business analyst, data engineer, data scientist. So that was kind of like a huge, and I think that the program helped me to define what I wanted to do and how to reach that position or that role that I wanted. In terms of consulting, yes, similar like to Bert, it wasn't like in my scope in terms of consulting. I worked before in consulting, I like it, but I wanted to try something else. But then in the end, one clear thing that I had is that I wanted to do analytics. So that was my priorities. Like I want to do analytics. The sector wasn't a priority. I knew which sectors I didn't want to work for. And I knew tech is one sector that is growing, and consulting, I like it. But then the priority was doing analytics. But that priority led me to consulting. And of course, as Bert mentioned, all the information sessions, the hackathons that we had, and the different contacts that you get to do through all the BCC, like the career center that we have at UBC, that really helped to land it into those consulting roles.
Amazing. So, and just kind of high level, why did you choose to work in your current industry or sector? So how did you end up in your first full-time role? What stood out to make you want to accept that? And Elena, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, was more the role itself. So I knew that I wanted to work in data, like I wanted to apply all those techniques that I have learned in the program, and then working with data and creating those recommendations and those dashboards to get insights and then explaining to different clients. So I started drafting that ideal role, and that ideal role brought me to consulting in the end. I realized that I like working with different projects, different clients, and I like that variety that you get in consulting. So through the master, we had different sessions with our career coach, and then we have a specific subject that will help you to define that ideal role. So once you have a better idea, I was looking for job positions that match that ideal role. So that's how I kind of landed in consulting again.
To me, it was like pretty much similar because I sort of realized that I'd just be working on different things, say, every few months. And that's pretty much been the case because you get to work on POCs, then you get to work on real-time projects, and then like more or less, a lot of them are short-term. So you get to develop on whichever side you want to develop on, and you can basically choose the projects of your liking. So that's how it goes in consulting. That's what attracted me towards that as well. Like, so I might very much move to strategy analytics next week, but then even there, that's the same thing that's common. So you're working on different things all the time. And I mean, for me, change is change is very important because you keep on learning with every project. So that was that.
Yeah, and I really have to echo what Elena and Arpit has said so far. The variety is just unparalleled. I mean, you work with a different client or a different project at least every few months. You're never bored. You're always challenged. And the industry as a whole, at least for most of the firms that participate in the consulting space, they're very fast paced and they challenge you a lot. And they typically give you a lot of autonomy to not only guide your career, but also just in terms of your day-to-day activities. So all of that's really why I was interested and why I really enjoyed my time in consulting.
That's so great to hear. And do you, just a follow-up question to all of you, are you how do you feel like your technical skills have grown? Like, are you constantly learning new things, or are you just learning more business skills? How does that career development working for you in such a fast-paced industry?
So I can start. The thing is that you have to keep on learning, like with every project. And I mean, for example, like Alina mentioned a while back, she's working on data engineering. So I was also working on data warehousing in the last project. So in the project that I have began with initially, I was working on building some dashboards. And I mean, that's why you keep on learning new technologies. You keep on growing within the firm itself. So you have to basically grow in order to do well for yourself. And I mean, from my perspective, it's amazing because I'm just up to date with everything that's going on in the market. So I guess that's the growth that I'm seeing in myself. So yeah.
Yeah, I can offer some insight next. When it comes to learning skills, like Arpit mentioned, because you're in such a fast-paced environment, you always have to learn and grow and just keep up, whether that's technical or business or any other set of skills that you may have that's relevant to your success. For me, in my consulting capacity, I wasn't really heavy into analytics or data or anything like that. It's really more on the product side, more on the technology side, and more on the sort of business side of things. But even then, you still have to constantly learn and challenge yourself. And what I found was that consulting firms, the larger ones, at least as far as I know, they offer a lot of opportunity outside of just your like day-to-day work to also grow professionally and develop through certifications and other lessons and stuff like that. So there's always opportunity to learn in the consulting space.
Yeah, completely agree with you. So like with both of you, like it's a continuously learning, but I think that that's the beauty of the industry. There are like so many new tools, and you like I thought like, oh, for example with Tableau, like I thought that I was kind of like an expert on it, but then once I joined Slalom and I started using Power BI and work with another like people, I got to see like, oh, like you can do so many new things that I didn't know, but I thought like after like 2 years of experience on it, I got to know enough. So I think that yeah, it's like never ends in terms of like you can get into best practices and a lot of like not just only tools like best practices or even like machine learning. There are like so many research that is going on that you can always like learn more and more and investigate more. That's up to you in terms of like how much you want to learn on it.
And also you'll get to learn how to make fancy presentations because that's a must in consulting.
That's so great to hear, and it's so great that to hear that all of you are growing outside of the program as well. Just because I'm conscious of time, just moving on to our next question. When you were looking and starting your full-time job search, what factors were you considering, or what strategies were you utilizing to land in your current industry? So, you know, what made you stand out, and what made companies stand out for you? Why did you want to go work for them? Arpit, if you'd like to start us off.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, when I was starting out my job search, I wanted like a big firm to begin with. That was my thing, and that's why I thought I'd just apply to the bigger firms. But the way my strategy sort of evolved was that after talking to my career coach, I realized that I should rather not be that picky and maybe apply to all the job openings with respect to my field that I find interesting. So I should apply in and then see how it goes. And luckily, it turned out well for me. But at the same time, like I would like to echo what I learned that if you like a job profile, just go for it. Just apply and then see how it goes because like it's good to be picky, but at the same time, you can give yourself some options. So there was that. And to make myself stand out, I always projected myself as someone who was technical enough initially and during my master's program, learned the business side of things to have a holistic view of how things go. So I think you'll learn both the things pretty well during the program, because there's a lot of technical courses, there's a lot of business courses as well. And you can definitely stand out in that way. This program will teach you both the things, and you can definitely concentrate on the subjects that you want to incline more towards it, like have a better understanding. So yeah, that's how I sort of protected myself.
Yeah, and as for myself, I was fortunate enough to just apply online and go through the process like that. But what I would recommend is you leverage the resources when you aim to join the program that the BCC offers. The BCC is essentially the Business Career Center that comes with the MBAN program. And they're such a valuable resource, not only to help you edit your resume, edit your cover letter, and practice interviews with you, but more importantly, help you network with alumni, introduce you to people, and help you get connected to people in various companies or industries that you're interested in. So what really helps is if you're really interested in one specific company, you can directly talk to the BCC team and say, can you like connect me with the alumni of the program or of the school who is now working at X company? And that's such a great way to differentiate yourself, because then you can basically talk to them, understand exactly what the role entails, and get a good impression of the company before you apply, which is going to greatly increase your chances of landing that particular role.
Yeah, complete. That's what happened to me, like from the career coach. Like you can go to like them, tell them what you want, or even like work with them to define what you want in terms of the companies, the roles. And after that, they will guide you in terms of like people that you can reach out to or events that you can attend. And yeah, I would like completely encourage you to reach out to people. For me, that was the key part in terms of like people that are working on those roles that you want to work on, or like managers. For example, like that was very helpful in my case. In my previous company, I reached out to the manager, and I got to know like kind of like the managerial style, the connection, like what kind of like approach or like methodology like that person or that manager was following. And that can give you an idea, can I see myself in that role? And also when you reach out to people that that are working in that role that you like, then they can tell you how to stand out in the interviews, how the skills that you need, so you can tailor that going into the interviews.
Yeah, I'd like to add on to this. Like, that's an amazing point that Bert and Alina said, that PCC is gonna help you in like any way whatsoever. So definitely like talk to them about stuff. Like I remember one of so I was like in towards the end of the program, I was a bit hesitant towards like my interviewing skills. And I remember in one of the sessions held by BCC, someone casually mentioned that I'm a very strict interviewer. So I just told her, hey, can you just interview me once? And she's like, I'm going to be very strict. And that worked out pretty well because that interview went fine. And I just felt a bit more confident in a way, because if a stress interview goes well, then a normal interview can very well go well. So, I mean, definitely bank on BCC. So, sort of material and the sort of guidance they give you, it's unparalleled. So, yep.
That's great. The BCC is such a fantastic resource available to students at UBC Sauder. So it's so great that all three of you were able to utilize them and leverage them to land in your full-time positions. So just to wrap up the panel portion, and before we go into the Q&A, what is one thing you would either wish you knew before starting the program, or what is one piece of advice you'd like to share with anyone thinking about or just about to start the program? Bert, would you like to start off?
Yeah, I would say the most valuable thing, top two, one would be what we just mentioned, like leverage the BCC. It's the program is more than just the courses that you take. It's also the resources and the network that you gain from attending the school, attending the program, which is pretty much just as valuable. I would also say that what you can focus on once you start the program is not only to focus on achieving high grades, which I mean, they're important, but also appreciate the other things that the program offers. Elena mentioned hackathons. There's the case competitions, hackathons, other ways to get involved with the community. And that's going to also reflect really well on your applications when you apply to jobs in the future, and really help your profile be more well-rounded. So overall, I'd say just take advantage of all the resources apart from just focusing on the classes.
Yeah, I echo that completely because yeah, I would say that one thing is don't limit yourself to the assignments. Of course, the assignments are going to help you a lot to get that technical and business background or knowledge. But I think that UBC offers so many events, seminars that you can learn from, and you can meet a lot of people like expert, professional, or other students that are doing or studying similar things or different things that can be valuable because they know a company or they know someone working at that company that you like. And also one thing is classmates. For me, I didn't have a technical background, so they really helped me to go over those questions that they have. And also the cohort is so diverse that you will be able to learn from so many industries. We have different backgrounds. So I remember some of my colleagues had the engineer background, and I realized that we think completely different from people coming from the business background. And that's something that really, that was a big lesson for me. And now I'm applying that in consulting, how to approach a problem. So.
Yeah, for me, it was the fact that just build a good relationship with your professors as well, because uh, they have great knowledge, they have great connections as well, and they'll definitely guide you in the sort of way you want to be guided in terms of any research if you want to do, any industry that you're targeting, or so on. Because a lot of my classmates did the same, and uh, just leverage the network, your professor's knowledge and guidance for sure, and their network as well. So yeah.
Great. So that brings an end to our panel discussions, and we have a audience question right off the bat. So we talked a lot about the BCC tonight, and someone is wondering, how early would you recommend starting working with the BCC? And considering you do the internship before you do a full-time job, would anyone like to take this question?
Sure, I can take that. So I would say as early as possible. So you will get access as soon as you start your program. And I think that the good thing about it is that they will give you an structure in terms of going first to what you want to achieve, then moving into the resume, LinkedIn, interview skills, communication skills. So that will help you to go step by step and don't feel overwhelmed for all the things. If you tackle that at the end, you will feel overwhelmed because you are looking for a position, you are modifying your resume, your LinkedIn, doing interviews. So I would say as soon as possible, so then you can work on it gradually.
That's great. And thank you for highlighting that the BCC is available during your entire time at UBC Sauder. So it's not something you have to wait for. From day one, they'll be able to help you out.
Yeah, and one more thing which I'd like to add is that I didn't know that for consulting, there's a consulting club as well, in which you can apply, and basically you can learn how to solve cases and all. So Dinushi, probably you can educate them better. Like, I forgot the name of the club, but I mean, I wish I'd known this before the program. So you can actually start working with BCC right off the bat when you've decided that you want to do something in consulting or something, because that is something that I got to know right after I joined. So yeah, I missed out on that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different opportunities for students during their time. So thanks for sharing that experience. We do have another question. So what are some takeaways to look forward to on the technical side of the program? And this is coming from someone with a business background.
When it comes to takeaways, so two things. First, if you have no technical background at all, you need to probably do a bit of pre-work. The courses are quite aggressive, and if you also want to juggle the other things that we mentioned on the call today, such as doing hackathons, case competitions, or all these events, it's probably good to do all the prep material that the program sends you before you start the program. So take I don't know how long it will take, a couple of weeks maybe, slowly work through all the prep material so that you have more of a basic understanding before entering the program. just so you don't drown when you join. And the takeaways in terms of your learnings, they're going to be a lot more for you as a business student than someone who already has a technical background, for example. So basically prepare for it if you have no technical background, just because you can definitely keep up the courses by itself, but it may be kind of challenging and will definitely drain a lot of your time. And just be prepared to learn a lot of things because you're coming from zero and you're going to get a whole lot of technical expertise after the program.
And Bert, did you do anything outside of the pre-work to prepare from the program, coming from a commerce background?
I just did the pre-work. I thought it was pretty good. I don't even think I finished all the pre-work. There was a lot of things there. I think the math portion I didn't finish. So yeah, the pre-work is pretty comprehensive and I definitely recommend that.
Perfect, that's awesome. And then another question is that was it necessary to build any other skill set outside of the program? So outside of like the technical sphere, did you do anything else to build up skill sets to enter the consulting industry?
So I would say that communication skills are key, so that, for example, hackathons will help you to do that, because at the end of that event, you need to present the solution that you came up with. Then there is another thing that is the MBAN Society. So what it is like a group of students from the MBAN will lead that society. There will be different roles, can be the president, VP Health and Wellness, VP Events. So I would encourage you to participate on that, because that will help you to practice your communication skills in terms of like communicating to the class, putting out there your ideas about how to enhance the experience for the students. So I would say, yeah, communication skills, that was key. That will help with leadership as well. When you are working in consulting, you need to talk about with the client, but you also need to talk with your colleagues in terms of the ideas that you have, how to present your thoughts. And related to that, the master helps you a lot, because a lot of the assignments are group assignments. So that helps a lot in terms of how to collaborate together and how to work in teams.
That's great, and thank you for highlighting that the program is much more than just the technical skills. You know, we do place a emphasis on those soft skills, and that those are so important to bridging the gap between analytics and business. Do you find that all your learning is happening on the job, or are you spending some time outside of your regular work hours to develop your skill sets?
I would say initially, yes, it's required when you're learning a new skill or like learning a new technology or anything of that sort. So initially, yes, during a project, it's required, like probably a couple of weekends or something like that. But that's again, like just so that I have a head start and I can do well in the project. So that's more like a personal choice. But yes, some bit of it definitely helps.
Sorry, I just muted myself by accident. Thank you so much, Arpit. How do you think learning data analytics and how did the MBAN assist you in setting yourself apart from other people who are entering the consulting industry?
So I can take that. So I would say in my case, because I had a business background, the program really helped me to build that technical background and offer that mix of, okay, I'm having the business and consulting experience, but I'm also having the technical, because at the end of the day, right now, for all the recommendations, so every time that I'm trying to come up with a solution, my first go-to is data, is analyzing data, creating those models. So I was telling them, I have that previous experience, but right now I'm adding that technical skill, and the program, what will give you is a lot of tools for you to work with data. So that was very helpful in terms of like position myself in the market when I was looking for a job.
Great, thank you so much. So do you have any recommendations for balancing student life and, job seeking. How did you guys maintain just a really good work-life balance while you were in school? And we do have another question about taking up a part-time job during the program, and if that's recommended or not. Would anyone like to take this question?
I can take the first bit, and then maybe other you can jump in with your experiences too. It's intense, the program. At least when I joined, it was really intense. The courses are not like what you expect from business background. If you're used to only that, some projects are really, really difficult. I would say the best way to balance is to know what is the most important thing to focus on. I'll give an example. There was this one time when there was this impossible assignment for, I think it was an optimization question or something. Out of the whole class, only 2 people could do like that one section of the project. And some people spent like 10 hours working on just that one problem with their team, when the project is only worth 10% of the grade, and they're only doing like 10% of the 10% for that one question. And other people, they gave it a shot, they did their best, they didn't spend more than like half an hour on it, and they went their way. So there's gonna be a lot of things to do in the program. You may not be able to get everything perfectly right, just given the intensity. So I'd say a good way to balance is to know what is really important to focus on and pick the priority that you want to really get out of the program, and maybe not try to like perfect every single little thing, because that can inevitably lead to you spending a lot of time solving some really, really difficult problems that may not really contribute much to your grade or even to your career development in the future.
Thank you. Yes, the program is quite challenging academically, and it's quite rigorous in terms of the pacing. So, we don't recommend students working part-time. So I appreciate you speaking to your experience in the program. We're entering our last couple minutes, and unfortunately we won't be able to get through all the questions today. But just as a final question, how did your internship help you decide on which industry to choose? And did you find that the internship gave you a jump start in the consulting field?
I can take that. So I would say what for me really helped, it was in the technical. So getting that experience, putting all that technical knowledge and all those business contexts that you get from the master, putting that into practice, that was very helpful, because you will learn a lot. And at that point is like the moment when you are like working with real data, with a real client. So that helped a lot. And in terms of consulting, I would say it really helped that it also helped you to prove that what you know, what you have learned, and you have put it into practice, and you have got that Canadian experience as well, and that local experience. So I would say that, yeah, really, really helped.
That's great. So that we're reaching 6:45 PST, and I know some people have to run off to games nights or to catch a plane. So we're sorry about all the questions we couldn't get to today, but hopefully that rich discussion gave you a lot more insight onto the program. And just a big, big thank you to Elena, Arpit, and Bert for sharing your experience and answering these questions. I know everyone really appreciates it, so thank you so much. So we are going to end the webinar here. It'll be open in case anyone wants to copy any chat questions or needs to grab anything. We'll keep it open for about 5 minutes, but thank you again to everyone who joined us tonight. So nice to see some familiar faces and so nice to meet some new people. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day or the rest of your evening, wherever you are. And we look forward to speaking with you in the future. I'm going to put my email in the chat box, so if you have any questions, feel free to fire them my way. Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.